Hey guys, it's Tyson Johnson joining you for another Six Pack Dad Tribe podcast episode. I'm joined here today by Jonathan Johnson. And if you've been listening to our podcast for a little while, you might remember that November of last year, we actually had him on here right around his 12 to 13 week mark. And as a busy executive, he was showing lots of early signs of success. And here in the tribe, what we really love is long term transformation stories. And Jonathan and I were just talking, and Labor Day marks his year mark. And so I wanted to get him back on the podcast today and just allow him to share where he's at now. And then we'll ask you a few questions. So, Jonathan, say hello.
Tyson, great to be chatting. It's great to be part of the tribe.
You've been a wonderful addition. If you don't mind, could you give us just a brief intro, who you are, profession, family, age, where you live, and any of the stuff you'd like to share?
Sure. I live in Salt Lake City. My wife, Courtney, and I have been married for 37 years. We have five adult sons and four, soon to be five, granddaughters. I'm a lawyer by training, but spent most of my career as an executive, spent the last 2+ decades at Overstock.com, which is a Utah-based public company. Today, I sit on boards, keep active in the community, active member of my faith, consider myself a disciple of Christ.
Yes, thank you for sharing. Um, by the way, for those listening, it's just coincidence. Both of our last names are Johnsons, but I'm honored to have that last name. I'm sure you are too, as well, Jonathan. But no immediate relation that we're aware of. Correct?
It's a common last name, uh, but you're no common guy, Tyson. You've been a motivator and a change agent in my life.
Thanks for the kind words. Feelings mutual. Well, if you wouldn't mind, tell us. So many of the busy professionals who might watch this, they've lost weight before. It's not their first rodeo. They've done diets, they've done workout plans, Nutrisystem, keto, things of that nature. It's a unique thing for someone to say, I've been following a lifestyle program for 12 months. And one of the questions we would love to ask you is like, what's the number one thing as you think about your long-term journey that you're on, your long-term transformation? What's the number one thing you feel has made the biggest difference?
Well, Tyson, that's a really interesting question. And I've lost hundreds of pounds in my life because I've done HGC, I've done Body for Life, I've done Weight Watchers, uh, and I can lose weight on a program. I think the number one difference this time is that something I learned in Atomic Habits, which I read as part of this. And that's not, I'm not doing something, I am something. So I describe myself today as an intermittent faster. I'm not intermittent fasting, I'm an intermittent faster. Before I used to be on Weight Watchers or I did Body for Life. It was felt like it was not who I was, it was what I was doing. So today I'm an intermittent faster. I'm a daily exerciser. And am I perfect at those things? No, no, but it's part of who I am and I describe myself as. And am I perfect in other things that I describe myself as? No. I mentioned in the intro that I consider myself a disciple of Christ. Not a perfect one of those, but that's who I am. And so I think the one thing that's helped me the most in the Six Pack Dad Tribe is kind of changing that mindset to this is who I am. And incorporating those habits into who I am has made them, I think, more sustainable. And I've been a big tracker the last month. I've been trying not to track as much to see if that who I am is permeated enough so that I'm not calculating everything and feeling like I'm on a program. And so far, so good.
I see your bike in the background. I've seen many videos of you in your community. You're on a bike ride, sharing. You're a biker, right? That's another part of who you
Yeah,
are.
I'm a cyclist. Yeah,
Cyclist.
that's what I would say who I am. And you know what? This has made a difference in that too. Having a little less, little, a lot extra weight, less weight to carry around is a lot easier than trying to get a newer, faster, lighter bike because there's only so light you can get your bike, but you can get your body lighter and stronger. So it's made a big difference.
And what a great insight for those who aren't familiar. Whether someone chooses to work with us or not, they should pick up that book. And James Clear is, in my opinion, the world's leading expert on habit transformation. And to Jonathan's point, he gives an example in the book about like, I'm a smoker, or I'm trying to quit smoking, or I don't smoke. And James talks about how identity based statements are much more powerful and lasting to drive consistency and change. And so when Jonathan says, I'm an intermittent faster, I'm a cyclist, those types of things are much more powerful. So, what a great insight.
And
Thank you for sharing.
that's made a difference. I don't feel like I'm on a program. I think I am a person who lives a certain way.
Yeah, awesome. If you don't mind, one thing I forgot to ask you about is we in the tribe we celebrate not just what the scale is saying, and we encourage people not to live and die by that because that can be somewhat misleading, but also things like waist size changes, things like sleep quality, blood work, like what we call non-scale victories. So you're 12 months into this lifestyle. It's who you are, or it's becoming a part of who you are. Could you share any scale or non-scale victories just kind of for context so people can further admire what you're all about?
Yeah, so I down between 35 and 40 pounds. It, kind of fluctuates in there. It's probably like to be down 45 and working there. My waist is down between 10 and 11 inches, so that's significant. Um, my strength, I'm stronger. I'm not jacked, you know, gonna take pictures with my shirt off, but I'm lifting more weight now, both on leg days and upper body days, than I was 12 months ago. I'm not peaking out to where I was when I was never a gym rat, but when I spent more time in the gym. But as a six pack dad tribe guy, I've gotten stronger. I've also gotten faster on my bike. I posted a polo to the tribe several weeks ago. I've been cycling for almost 20 years, and we have a canyon near my house called Immigration Canyon, which is a long, gentle climb, a lot of cyclists on it. From the first time I cycled up that 10, 15, 20 years ago, I thought one of these days I'd like to cycle to the top and never be passed. And in all the time I've cycled up Immigration Canyon, which has been hundreds of times, that's never happened until this summer. And I didn't have to do it in the dead of the night. I did it on a normal weekday morning when there were a lot of cyclists in the cabin or in the canyon and didn't get past. And for me, that was a really happy victory.
Yes, congratulations. Um, and I think a lot of us forget that we want to do something initially to lose weight, but then all of these little things start to unlock in our life. Whether it's me, I dunked a volleyball it's been a long, long time, and I was able to do that just because my 18-year-old son wanted to show me up a few months ago, and I had to remind him that even a 42-year-old doesn't have to age. And so whatever it is, someone wants to go hiking or a cycling trip or whatever, it's just a wonderful way to live your life. So congrats on that. Well, I wanted to keep this brief and impactful. As you think about this journey of becoming, things that you're learning, any other parting words that you'd love to share with either tribe members or even thinking about family members, friends, acquaintances that you care about, that if they were to listen to this might give them motivation and insight on their health journey?
So I think the value of being being part of the Six Pack Dad tribe has been the community. And, at first I was a little hesitant. I'm a private, there are things about my life I like to keep private. And I just didn't know if I would like to be part of a group that was on polo sharing thoughts. But I've leaned into that. And at first it was a little uncomfortable, but I think being an active participant in this group, in this tribe, has made a difference. When we're having competitions like we do 2 or 3 times a year and recording things on spreadsheets together, I see what my peers are doing and I like to try and keep up. Uh, I like to get a post from someone who's had a success or who's struggling. And I think, gee, I can get those successes, or yeah, I've had those kind of struggles too. So I think the camaraderie of this group, and it's informal, it's fun. Um, I've leaned into that, and I think that's made a difference too.
Jonathan, remind me, are you a BYU alumni?
I am. I
I
am.
thought I thought so. So am I. I
Twice.
bring
Twice.
yeah, twice. Law degree?
Yes.
Is that yeah, congrats. I bring that up maybe just as a closing thought from my side. A lot of our tribe members are BYU alumni, and if they're not, that's fine too. But one of the mottos of this university is enter to learn, go forth to serve. And that's something I've admired and I've watched, Jonathan, because I'm a part of all of the Marco Polo groups. I see who's participating. I see people who start a learning journey, and it's this journey of becoming like you 9 months ago. And you've just stayed active. And now it's almost like you're in a position of giving back. You've entered to learn and you're going forth to serve. And to those anyone who's listening who's thinking about it's time for me to have better health habits, what I think you'll find is people are going to watch, they're going to admire you, you're showing up as an example to them, and it's actually a way that you can serve those you care most about. And Jonathan, I think that's your story. We haven't gotten into that, but thank you for being one of those types of guys who I consider a friend, a man of integrity, a high caliber guy. And we're so grateful you're in the tribe. Thanks for giving back today.
Well, Tyson, thank you. You're a friend and a mentor and a change agent. And so it's great. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jonathan. Have a good day.
Likewise.